Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and
Welcome, Geeks and Gamers, to Geeks and Gamers Entertainment, where we make geeks and gamers great again. Now, is that always easy? No, it's not. I am covering the hot topics. All of you viewers that have known me for a long time know that I do this because it is a hot topic. And you know what? Not everyone wants you to cover it. And I say, too bad, even to my friends. Too bad. This is how I've been the whole time. And don't question my integrity as to why I cover this, because it's just getting clicks. Is it getting clicks because people want to talk about it? Hell yeah, it is. And there are a bunch of clowns. It is a clown show with these critics that are trying to spin a narrative of Snyder Cut fans. And there's actual industry professionals that are for it, like Kevin Smith. So I am not taking things out of context like Ignore Signore. And yes, I am coming for Signore, even though he blocked me on his show on Tuesday. I hope to talk to them both at the same goddamn time. I don't give a shit. All right? So I'm coming for both of them. And they are idiots. No one says when released the Snyder Cut, it is a positive movement. There might be a small segment that thinks it's completely final. A cut does not mean it's polished. A cut exists, a working cut, which is very common in Hollywood, before it gets the final CGI polish. Maybe there is a few more scenes he wanted to film.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard there are a few scenes that he wanted to film, but he never got to, like the Martian Manhunt that we saw storyboards of a long time ago, and a few scenes stuff.
Okay. Yes. I've heard about that too. But the majority of the film is finished. A working cut is finished. Sci-fi might have to come back in here in a second. All right. Yeah. All right. So he'll come back. He's just got internet problems. So the majority of the film and his vision is in there at some form in a working cut. Damn it. A working cut. Release the Snyder Cut is, yes, we want it finished if possible. If not, release it as is so we could see. Okay? You could do that on HBO Go or HBO Max. I'm sorry. So here's the clown show that tried to take Kevin Smith's tweets to fit their narrative like he's backing them up. No, he would. I don't think, as a creator, as a director, and a filmmaker himself, would want anything to do with the shit show that was Jody'S video the other day, mocking Snyder fans and the movement. When Gal Gadot is only there because Zack Snyder. Remember, anytime a Snyder Cut denier denies that it exists or tries to dunk on it, say Gal is for Snyder, and Gal Gadot thanked him in her acceptance speech, saying that he gave her a shot. So now let's look at the Twitter, and I'm showing you signed in first because here you go. Blocked. I'm blocked by Ignore Signore. Okay, so I'm gonna have to sign out just so you can see what he's trying to do. The clown show. All right. Oh, let me get to it. Oh no, I'm blocked. Oh, I gotta search for him again. All right. Give me a second. Darn it, I should have had it. I should have had that ready. Andy Signore. Man, he tweets out a lot of stuff. Okay. Here we go. I have it now. Sorry. Okay, so here's the narrative he's trying. Kevin Smith confirms my story. It's not finished at all. No, that is bullshit. It's not finished, but at all, that's trying to fit his narrative at all. There's a majority of this film that is finished. It was taken over at the end and hijacked. Zack wants 20 million. And I pre-watched most of this interview. In the interview, Kevin Smith says apparently they want 20 million, and he's just referring to his bullshit article or other claims. So he's getting that secondhand, not firsthand. So that does not confirm. Sci-Fi Dragon's back. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, viewers, but we got to roll with the punches when the internet's not working right. All right,
Yeah.
so this I pre-watched part of the interview. So we're going with Andy Signore first, what he's trying on Twitter. Now this first, it's not finished at all. That's bullshit. It's because if he said it's not finished, that's different. At all is bullshit. A majority of this film is done. There's some
I've seen some people say it's 90 or 80% finished.
Yeah. So that is a bullshit statement at all. Now, if he would have said it's not finished, I could co-sign that. That doesn't mean that a Snyder cut doesn't exist, though. See, we're breaking down his bullshit on this video, sci-fi.
Yeah.
All right, now Zack
There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Now Zack wants 20 million. Okay. Now, in the interview, I pre-watched some of it. Kevin Smith says apparently they want 20 million. He is relating to secondhand accounts from articles he's read, like Andy Signore's. So that doesn't confirm it. He does give some firsthand knowledge of the crew from The Rise of Skywalker because they also worked on Batman v Superman Justice League. So he does give firsthand accounts of crew he spoke with. But when he refers to the 20 million, no, that does not confirm your bullshit story, Signore. He's just saying apparently they want 20 million. He's doing that hearsay in articles. You wrote the article. It does not prove you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it doesn't prove you're right. He's acting like it's fact now.
Yeah, and I don't think he should be doing that.
No.
Because he's pushing a narrative.
And then 3, Warner Brothers doesn't have faith. Warner Brothers is a little bit spiteful when they didn't get that big bank and they're blaming him. They like to throw people under the bus.
Yeah. Something that Warner Brothers is very infamous for.
Yes, exactly. All right. The 3 things Snyder fans destroyed me and over my article, but now Kevin's no, he's not supporting you. He doesn't mention you at all. He says he says apparently. So this is bullshit. A clown show, and then I'm supposed to keep quiet about this? Hell no. Here's the facts, Jack. In my friends that are watching this that don't want me to cover it, too bad. Did I hurt your fifis? Too bad. We're not taking things out of context. He is, and trying to prove that he's right by Kevin Smith. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the part that he shows to try to prove he's right. And look, he look at the clowns he tags. Jody'S clown quarter and a certain nerd. Okay.
Yeah.
Fan of Meyer now. Some fans are really crazy. I wear a mask, but you're crazy, dude.
I mean, they're the ones with the real masks. You wear a mask, but you're genuine.
Yeah. I'm not gonna hide my feel. I do. Sci-fi, I've cared about the Snyder Cut a long time. We've talked about in the past. I might not have made videos because Film Gob was leading the way. If I don't have anything new to say, I kind of just like, okay.
Yeah, it was Film Gob, and it was the Comic Movie Marks and Lantern 2814 and Ping Pong Flicks and Film Junkie. Those were the
Okay.
guys who were leading the
Yeah,
movement.
so they were doing it better. So why am I going to try to do a video that they've already done? Film Gob's compilations. Now, do I agree with everything he said? That comment before, I think he should be forgiven for it. I think he got in the heat of the moment and made a bad decision. But oh well. I think he took the bait that they set up. All right, so let's listen to what he shows.
Put in like $20 million.
All right.
Honestly, would like to see the story continued and concluded. Like we were in the middle of this operatic, like Goddamn version of the DC universe. I would like to see how that was going to conclude, rather than, pardon us, here's a whole different director and different tone, and suddenly the movie shifts. And I understand why it happened and all the reasons and stuff, but you got a director. Zack seems to be very willing to go back.
I'm putting this full screen because I might use this in the future.
Would be, and I know I would be too. If somebody like took my movie away from me and completely changed it,
see,
oh, you better leave.
Yeah, he's speaking in support of it. I don't know why Signore is using this to support his argument.
So it makes absolute sense that he's still engaged.
Yes,
with it. He
exactly.
never got to tell the story that he wanted to tell. So I understand that like everyone's in support of like the Snyder cut, but it's not like here's a DVD. This has the Snyder cut on it. You know what I'm saying?
Very few have said that.
Completed version of the movie.
It's not a tape trade that you guys are passing around or anything like that. Right.
Well, I mean, maybe it is amongst the power elite in this town stuff, but the way I've always understood it from people who've seen it is that it's like a big
people that have seen it.
Description of things that were shot or needed to be changed, and then another chunk.
If people have seen it, then that means it exists.
Put it up on.
That's still a working cut.
Watch it coherently. Even movie fans or people who are cineasts who are like, "Oh, I understand storyboards and stuff like that," might have a harder time getting through it. No special effects whatsoever. Like,
no, I don't believe that because I've seen some stuff. He just might be mistaken for. I think some of the special effects were finished. Not all of them. I think the Dark Side and, like you said, Martian Manhunter were the only things that are not finished. So he just might be missing info on that. He doesn't have all the info here.
They would, in order to get it something to something presentable. It sounds like they would want. It sounds like they want to put in like $20 million.
Okay, see, this is where Signore is trying to say. See, he's backing me up. No, he says, what does he say? It sounds like, based on what he's read in articles. This is not from his firsthand knowledge. In the full interview, that's not this clip out of context to try to prove what he's saying. We're going to watch the whole interview next. He talks about the knowledge that he actually has from people that have worked on Rise of Skywalker and worked on Batman v Superman and Justice League. So that's what we're going to get to next.
Put in like $20 million to give you an idea. And, I guess at that point, they're like, well, this movie's already in the hole. And, I guess there's no faith that this incarnation of the movie would add anything more to pulling it out of debt. But I would sure.
Okay, so that's where he cuts it, because then he starts saying, I would sure do it. You see where he cut it? Do you see? Yeah. That's proof right there. I see it. That's proof right there, you clown. You took a clip out of context to try to prove your bullshit article and try to paint the fans a certain way. When you're toxic critics, you cut it off right where he starts being supportive of the fan of the Snyder cut. He said, let's do that last clip too. Here's the proof. Okay.
Or pulling it out of debt, but I would sure.
I would see he cuts it off right there. Do you see that, Sci-Fi?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so now let's trash his Twitter, which he blocked me, which he's gonna have a hell of a time Tuesday because I'm gonna need
that's a cowardly move.
I'm gonna need you. He says, "Prove me wrong" is his show, so I'm gonna need all you viewers helping on Tuesday. I'm gonna make another video calling him out, get it through his freaking red skull that I'm coming for him to talk this shit out. Him and Jody's Clown Corner. All right, so now we're gonna get to a whole video that another YouTuber put up. It's 41 minutes, but I'm going to where they start talking about the Snyder Cut. So shout out to Prime 76. I subscribed, and then we're gonna watch the full interview. And why are we doing this? I might put it full screen so you can't see me in sci-fi because we might. No. I won't do that. I'm gonna revisit this in the future. I'm gonna compile with your support. Comment below and let me know if you want a super cut of all the proof of support and discussions of the Snyder Cut for like a whole documentary. Because we cannot be denied. And I'll tell you what, I want to see this before I leave this earth. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
Even if it's not in the few years, like before it was like I want to see the sequel trilogy to Star Wars. Now it's I want to see the Snyder Cut. I want to see the
Yeah.
Snyder Cut.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't take as long as it did to get the Donner cut for the
Right.
Superman too.
Right. I'm not giving up. I'm never giving up. Never. All right, so here we go. All right, this is with a comicbook.com discussing Zack Snyder's Justice League. So it is an interesting. All right, let's watch the whole thing.
As Batman, I know you've been quoted as saying that you know that the Justice League Snyder Cut is a real thing. So can I possibly ask how you might know that?
Oh, wait.
Not,
Wait, did you hear the comic book guy? He says he knows it's a real thing. Signore intentionally left that part out.
Yeah.
All right, let's rewatch that.
like
Right.
he's been with us forever.
Yeah. I speaking of Ben as Batman, I know you've been quoted as saying that you know that the Justice League Snyder Cut is a real thing. So
See?
can I possibly ask
Look,
how
he's
you might know?
he's blinking with approval. Now that's not like a whole head nod, but he's like, yeah, okay. Is he denying what this guy's saying there? Now I can already hear the denier saying he didn't say that. The comicbook.com guy said, but did he correct him?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He did not correct him.
Know that?
And I've said many times that I don't. And even on Fat Man Beyond, I think I've said like I don't know that there's a physical copy that one could sit down with.
Okay, he corrects him there. The physical copy.
There's a lot of that movie that he made, and then it got completely fucked with. And I know this not from Zack himself, and not from Ben. I've never spoken to them about it.
This is where he gets to his sources, the best kind of source, actual people that worked on it.
Right.
But
yeah,
England, when I was visiting the Star Wars set, there was a bunch of crew that like whenever I'm around, like I don't attract famous people, I attract crew. Like they're like, oh my God, you've been doing this. I saw Clerks and that made me want to be in the business and stuff. So it's really sweet. So I get to gossip with people who work on the shows, and you find out about stuff that's going on in the show that you're currently at. Mm-hmm. But you also find out stuff about the shows they've worked on prior to that. So a bunch of people who worked on Rise of Skywalker when I visited had worked on like Justice League, had worked on Solo as well. So not only are you getting in the trenches war stories about the movie they're making, you get in the trenches war stories about the movies they made. So I was talking to some cats who were in visual effects, who had been in visual effects.
You know what? I will make this full screen for here.
Who saw the boards laid out. They said very elaborate boards, some of them drawn by Jim Lee, that laid out the 3 movies like that they were going to make. And then somewhere it became 2. But the idea was, I guess the 3 movies were, Batman v Superman, Justice League 1, and Justice League 2. So there was a vision for this grand universe. He said he saw Martian Manhunter on it. He said he saw Green Lanterns and stuff like that. So he broke down the script that he got to read, the movie that they shot originally, and then the movie that we saw. And that was where I first heard about like the Snyder, what would become colloquially the Snyder Cut at this point. From people that worked on the movie, special effects people that were like, dude, Darkseid was in it. this was in it. They went through everything, and I was like, no. And then we did an episode of Fat Man Beyond, and we were reading some internet piece about like somebody who heard that Darkseid was in it, and someone in our audience, Jamie Cat Ears, who goes to all the shows that we do there, she had gone to
That's the lady I was telling you about.
Okay.
so she saw a version that had stuff in it that she essentially saw the Snyder cut version before they, I guess, did the reshoot, because she described things that were still, they included them as like rough drawings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But told the audience this isn't, finished by any stretch of the imagination. And some of the stuff that she described was Darkseid and was like this much grander vision for the movie than it had. And I think I'm not like the person that's just like, I love Zack Snyder's version. I have lots of respect for Zack Snyder's version of Batman v Superman, and we've never apparently seen his version of Justice League. But like, he had a take, and you could clearly tell that he was going in a direction with that take. And we'd seen
This is like this. You have to understand. This was like a big chunk of his life. And this was also right when he lost his daughter, to those years leading up. That's another reason he might be so I mean, this is not just movie in his career. This is like the majority of what his career is known for, his work at WB, with 300, Watchmen, Owls of Gahul or whatever. But
Yeah, and Man
and
of Steel.
yeah, Man of Steel. This was a big part of his life that got hijacked, and to treat his movement that he supports the Snyder Cut movement.
Yeah, he's on his showing all the tidbits and all of the pictures.
Yeah, with such a toxic response in mocking the movement is disgusting. All right.
the vision in Man of Steel, which was a wonderful film. We've seen the vision continue in Batman v Superman. The opening sequence is spellbinding and ties directly into Man of Steel. And his vision for this universe is incredibly serious. I'm not saying there's no jokes in it. Yes, there's humor, but it's treated insanely earnestly. The way that when I was in my teens reading comics, I was like, why can't they make the movies like this? Why can't they make them all serious? So his tone is present in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and then falls off the cliff in Justice League. And believe me, I'm not going to say fellow filmmaker, because Zach's way better than me at making films. But as a guy who makes movies, it's sad to see somebody's vision interrupted. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing a thing, and it was his thing.
Yeah, it is really sad to see that this, and then the response of an artist with a vision, not that's trying to get the positive things out of this, and people just keep denying it like this, that exists, and that in painting the fans a certain way, just so you know what these fools want, don't you? You know what these fools want is they want to be the ones that killed it. These clowns, the clown corner, want to be the group of critics that, hey sci-fi, you're still wonky. I can't see you at all. They want to be the critics that killed the movement and get notoriety off that. That is what they're trying to do. That's what you get with Jody'S video the other day. And that's why I'm not letting up. And I do care. And those are some of my favorite movies. I've rewatched them a bunch of times. And they just get better. Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So I'm bringing this back up here. All right. Let's watch more of this. It's a great interview.
And just because I wasn't like, oh, that's the best version of that thing ever, I still had lots of respect for it. I was like, that's a cool thing. And I honestly would like to see the story continued and concluded. Like we were in the middle of this operatic, like Goddamn version of the DC universe. I would like to see how that was going to conclude, rather than, pardon us, here's a whole different director and different tone, and suddenly the movie shifts. And I understand why it happened and all the reasons and stuff, but you got a director. Zack seems to be very willing to go back and present like what his vision would be. And I know I would be too. If somebody like took my movie away from me and completely changed it, you better leave. I'd be sitting online being like, here, check this out. I'd invite people over my house to watch the thing, just to be like, this is what I wanted to do. So,
it may, I think has happened to some people, to some fans. And of course, Jason Momoa, it has happened. So
it makes absolute sense that he's still engaged with it.
Okay, did you hear that, Signore? It makes absolute sense that he's still engaged with the release the Snyder Cut fandom based on another creator, not based on your popcorn bullshit, not based on that where you try to butter up WB to try to cancel this movement. We're never going anywhere except right straight for you, dipshit. I'll see you Tuesday. And you're gonna try to deny it exists, but you're not denying me getting on your show. I'll tell you that right now.
Never got to tell the story that he wanted to tell. So I understand that like everyone's in support of like the Snyder Cut, but it's not like here's a DVD. This has the Snyder Cut on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no completed version of the movie.
It's not a tape trade that you guys are passing around or anything like that. Right.
Well, I mean, maybe it is amongst the power elite in this town and stuff, but the way I've always understood it from people who've seen it is that it's like a big chunk and then description of things that weren't.
That's still a cut. That is still a cut. Okay. No one says it's 100%. Oh, there you are, sci-fi. No one says
sorry.
Took that long. There may be a few, but no one, the majority can agree that no one says it's 100% polished, finished. There still needs to be a few adjustments, but the majority of the movie is done. It's probably closer. It was probably closer to being done than Solo. And unfortunately, at this time is when movie theaters were trying this BS, is hijacking Lord and Miller Solo and Batman v Superman. I think Batman v Superman happened first. Josh Trank's Fantastic Four first, Batman v Superman, and then Solo. And then they see how it's failed, or maybe they're not going to do this as much in the future. This is why
they sort of did it with Shane Black's The Predator too, 20th Century Fox, and Dark Phoenix too.
Yeah, they were Hollywood was hijacking a lot of films at this time in history, and they certainly hijacked his towards the end. Maybe he didn't put up much of maybe he did put up a fight, but maybe he couldn't follow through at the time because of family tragedy, and they exploited it.
Shot or needed to be changed, and then another chunk. So it's not like you could just put it up online and everybody could watch it coherently. Even movie fans or people who are cineasts who are like, oh, I understand storyboards and stuff like that, might have a harder time getting through it. No special effects whatsoever.
No,
like everything would be green screen. They would, in order to get it something to something presentable. It sounds like they want to put in like $20 million to give
now. From what I've heard, the dark side is not like there's not like a bunch of dark sides, so they would need to.
Yeah, because he's not the main villain of the movie. Steppenwolf is
Right, but there's completely finished other CGI of how they take down Steppenwolf. And I think from the actual proof that we've seen, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Aquaman take him down without Superman. But because they did the reshoots, they added the Superman finishing off Steppenwolf. But I think in the original version, maybe he was still Black Suit Spider-Man did I say Spider-Man? Superman, Black Suit Superman, and Aquaman puts a trident through his back. Batman uses like a grappling hook to hold him down, and Wonder Woman cuts off his head or something. That's what I heard from Zack Snyder
Yeah,
himself.
that's what I heard too.
And Superman may not have been involved with taking Steppenwolf down, and that was finished CGI from the image I saw. I could bring up that image. I could find that image again from one of my other videos.
Yeah, and it totally falls in line with what Zack Snyder was setting up in BVS, because what he wanted to show was that the reason why they formed the Justice League in the first place was because they didn't have Superman anymore. They needed to form a team and work together as one unit, now that the most powerful man in the world was dead, and they would have to do it without him, I think.
So from what I think, my personal opinion is the stuff that's unfinished is the dark side, because that's when they're like, WB like cut it cold. The family tragedy happened and they needed to finish that CGI at the end. And the scenes with Martian Manhunter, they kind of allude to the next movie. So I think that's the reason the stuff isn't finished, because they hijacked it beyond that, and they don't want Darkseid. They just want it to be Steppenwolf and Superman to be back. And they rushed Superman being back to good old soups again, too, because they want to, they rushed through the Superman storyline at WB's because he was gonna, I think he was gonna have a bigger arc in the third one, but that's the majority of what was reshot was the Superman stuff and Superman taking on Steppenwolf. So I think my personal opinion is it 100% finished? No, but a lot of it is, including the action sequences with Steppenwolf. There's a whole nother version that I think is finished, but what's not is the stuff at the end with Darkseid and the Easter eggs for like Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern to prop up what's going to happen next, because they weren't ready, and they wanted to stop that. They didn't want to expand his universe. They wanted to close it down. So, all right, let's see what else, see how much more we want to watch this.
Idea. And, I guess at that point they're like, well, this movie in the hole. And, I guess there's no faith that this incarnation of the movie would add anything more to pulling it out of debt, but I would sure love to see it. And I would sure, I hold out hope, and I've read
he hopes for the Snyder cut.
They're gonna, they're not gonna.
Did Andy leave that in his clip? No. He clipped it out of context to try to prove himself right and prop himself up as the clown corners that destroyed the movement. That's what they want. They want to get popular off of it. They're abusing someone else's art, trying to paint the fans a certain way, which, hey, everyone here knows. Hold on a second. Everyone here knows I have problems with toxic fandom. I also have problems with toxic critics that just try to abuse stuff to fit what they want and to make themselves popular off other people's joy in art. Did they create anything? No, they just cover it.
Well, I mean, Jody apparently is an extra in Wonder Woman 84. I've been hearing that around, is that he Patty Jenkins let him be an extra in the movie or something.
Maybe they didn't know about his toxic behavior towards Zack, because I think even Patty Jenkins is a Zack fan.
Of course.
I think he had something to do with hiring her.
Yeah, I think he handpicked her to direct Wonder Woman.
Right. So I don't think they'd be happy about how. Am I gonna at them like they've been doing? No, I'm not gonna at them, Patty Jenkins or anything, because I want him to get his role in Wonder Woman 84. See what happens to that extra. Give him a whole corner of the film. That's for sure. All right. Man, he's gonna stick out though.
It would be a dream if HBO Max
See,
in the first year
he
had
support
the Snyder
now.
Cut.
What could we do? Sci-fi. What could we do if we had a Fandom Noir website? We could come out with the article. Kevin Smith supports the release of the Snyder Cut movement and wants to see it on HBO Max. He appreciates an artist's vision and feels like it was hijacked, which is all proof in this video. And he does not blame, and he understands why Zack is involved in the community. He completely understands. So that was not covered in Andy's tweet.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like,
Yeah.
we'd all subscribe, or at least be friends with somebody who subscribed and, watch through their membership. But I can't imagine it wouldn't create traction and action.
See?
But at the same time, it maybe for Warner Brothers creates a whole new set of headaches where then you've got a bunch of people going, let him finish, make another one. And they're like, oh my God, like we went from release the Snyder Cut to like, now we got to give him a whole new movie. And that's, if I ran a studio and I had all the money, honestly, I would. I'd let that man finish his story. He had a vision.
That's the sound clip to get, Sci-Fi. That is the sound clip to get. How much does Kevin Smith support it? If he ran the studio, he would let him do it.
Yeah.
He would let him do it. Release the Snyder Cut and call out the clown corner of YouTube critics. Call out the clown and unite the Snyder Cut fans. And you know what? I'm getting a lot of heat making this exact video. So I need your support. Smash the hell out of the like button and join us, Snyder Cut fans.
Yeah.
And we will not be silenced. And do it for Zack. Justice for Zack.
Yeah. Hashtag justice for Zack.
Justice for
And
Zack.
I think Kevin Smith is extra supportive of Zack because he's a director too. He's made his own movies, and I think he knows what it would feel like to have your vision taken away from you and your project just hijacked.
This might have been like 10 years of his life. How long do you know that he was like planning ahead? Or even The Watchmen, he's like, well, we're happy with The Watchmen. Here's your next project. Working with Christopher Nolan, Christopher Nolan had a hand in picking Zack as well. That he devoted a large chunk of his life, the final years of his daughter's life, and they exploited it. And then he's got to deal with clowns saying something about his fans and that he shouldn't be encouraging his artistic vision. Imagine if they had listen, you know how Jeremy is about one goddamn video being flagged. This is censorship. Imagine if they had one video YouTube said you can't have. They would be whining all across the internet. They're trying to censor my art or my voice. What is WB? It's trying to censor an artist's voice that was hired for the job. Okay? You clown?
Yeah, and they're helping
You're wrong. You're wrong, clowns. All right. Let's see what else. I don't know how much more we're going to watch.
You would like that vision or not, so few people in this business bring any vision to any of their storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his was operatic. It was very huge. And like
sorry. Did we not hear that part?
Down, but there were some things that didn't hit me in the way of the movie. And that's, if I ran a studio and I had all the money, honestly, I would. I would let that man finish his story. He had a vision. And whether you would like that vision or not, so few people in this business bring any vision to any of their storytelling. You know what I'm saying? And his was operatic. It was very huge. And like I've said many times, and I'm not saying this to bring it down, but there are some things that didn't hit me in the way where I'm like, well, that's not Batman that I know, or that's not Superman I know, and stuff like that. But those are the same quibbles I would have reading a comic book that kind of took the character left or right or something like that. So it always breaks my heart whenever that story comes up because, I know it's like this is first world problems and stuff like that, but there's scrape everything away, that it's DC, scrape away that the problems that they had making the movie, the reception of Batman v Superman and stuff like that. Scrape away everything, and all you're left with for me is the story of an artist who wanted to tell his story and was in process of doing that and was making a lot of people happy by telling that story, and then just instantly got shut down and there's no more like the place that was financing it wants no more conversation about it. That's heartbreaking. Yes, this is a first world problem, right? Like it's not like somebody's starving or something that like, but still that was his song. And man, like I spoke to him during those years. Like when I did a Man of Steel event for like Yahoo, I think it was, when it went to video, and he was heading off to do Batman v Superman, and he showed me a picture of the suit in advance, and he was like a child at Christmas, a kid in the candy store. He was excited as hell. He wasn't like dark and grim or something like that. I'm gonna make the darkest version of DC movie you ever saw or anything. Like he was a kid. He was just like, I can't wait. Such enthusiasm. You rarely see that kind of passion in a filmmaker. You know, Kevin Feige, as a grand filmmaker who's produced the entire Marvel universe, he has that kind of passion. We talk to him, and this is a guy who lives and breathes this stuff. He's one of us. And while Zack maybe it wouldn't be technically described as one of us in as much as he didn't grow up reading the same comics we did, or maybe he has a different take on the material, he is inherently one of us because he sees the special nature of these stories, and he's like, this is what they are through my prism. And his prism was like interesting, for better or worse, whether you loved it or whether you hated it.
It was a vision.
He had a take. Like how few people in this world have a take at all, let alone a new take on something you're familiar with. And so, like, I would love to see him finish. I doubt we're going to see that in this lifetime, but stranger things have happened. If you had told me a year ago that one day we'd all be like locked in our houses, you know, for a long period of time, I'd be like, yeah, right. Would you watch that Steven Soderbergh movie, Contagion? Like, and here we are. So maybe there's a world where we do get to see the Snyder Cut, happen, and I'm fully in support of that. Not only do I want him to release the Snyder Cut, I want him to give him a lot of movies make up for the Snyder Cut, or the Snyder Cut, if you will, and let him make the other Justice League. There were gonna be two. Yeah. Like it was a part 1 and part 2, and then after I think
does that fit your narrative, Signore? That's where
no, it doesn't. It doesn't fit his narrative. That's why he cut it off at that one point.
Yeah. So shout out to Film Gob for coming up with Ignore Signore. We are not going to stop covering this. So listen, I know my friends could be watching and are not happy with this. If we stop talking about it, it could die. We are not going to stop talking about it. Eventually it will happen. Maybe it won't happen right as soon as we want, but I'm not giving up. Are you, Sci-Fi?
No. And even if your friends give up on you after we're doing all this Snyder Cut coverage, at least you can have the comfort that I'll be by your side.
Oh, thanks, Sci-Fi. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know how you can defend these idiots. I really don't know how. And that's what a lot of my friends have been doing, is defending them, just because, listen, my previous video that I got heat on, was that my words that I showed? No, that was the Red Skull Ignore Signore's words. And he was trying to expose someone else, and I just showed you how hypocritical he is. And then you don't talk to me because of his words? That's some bullshit. You don't talk to me because of this guy's words. You're canceling me as a friend. Social media cancel. I can't be associated with you anymore because of this clown's words. I'm not going to let that stand, and I'm not going to shut up. And that's not my way. And I know some groups that I thought that we don't silence when injustice is being done. So
I mean, every group eventually falls. Eventually, that's kind of why I'm hesitant to join groups. Is that this always happens? They eventually rise, and then they fall.
No, I'm not. I'm still with the Gray Order. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's making me go anywhere, and I'll talk to every single one of you. Okay, I don't know how much more we're gonna watch here.
Suddenly, it started truncating into one movie instead. And it sounded like, the way I get it, Steppenwolf was the first movie, and then it ends with Darkseid showing up, and then the whole next movie is the huge movie. Like their end game, if you will, where you're battling Darkseid. So break them off some more money.
Sorry, damn it.
Why not? We're never going to go out.
Did you hear that?
Again, apparently, according to the experts.
Sci-Fi?
So we're all going to be home. Give us that. Release the Snyder Cut. I want him to give him a lot of movies make up for the Snyder Cut, or the Snyder Cut, if you will, and let him make the other Justice League movie. There were gonna be two.
Yeah.
Like it was a part 1 and part 2, and then after I think BVS, suddenly it started truncating into one movie instead. And it sounded like the way I get it, Steppenwolf was the first movie, and then it ends with Darkseid showing up, and then the whole
that's the part that's not finished. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
part where it's probably pre-vis CGI or storyboards or whatever, because they didn't want it. That listen, it would have cost. That next movie is probably the reason there's so much pushback. Is when you see Zack's final vision, that it is so amazing that you want to see that Darkseid movie, the whole movie, and not just the end where he shows up. That's probably why there's such pushback, because you're gonna want to see the next film after Justice League Snyder Cut. That's probably why.
Yeah, it was gonna be epic.
Yeah, so that's why we're getting. There's this campaign led by people that have access to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is spiteful. Go check out Entourage. Look, they covered Harvey Weinstein before he was called out too. There's a lot of stuff in Entourage where the upper people of Warner Brothers are spiteful, and if they don't get big bank, and they're gonna throw you under the bus, take away your project, and he is risking a little bit of his career speaking out about his original vision, Zack. But listen, it's not like they're giving him any projects anyway. He has to go to Netflix now.
Next movie is the huge movie, is like, their end game, if you will, where you're battling Darkseid. So break them off some more money, man. Let them go make that movie. Why not? We're never going to go out to a movie theater again, apparently, according to the experts. So, we're all going to be home. Give us that.
Yeah, we need that right now, I think. I mean, if anything could cheer people up, like especially DC fans, it would be releasing the Snyder Cut. So if it's out there,
please, DC fans,
to release it, I think.
Right.
Real quick, we were talking to Todd McFarlane yesterday.
Okay, that's where.
Yeah, let's cut it off right there.
Yeah. All right, so he and the interviewer are really pro Snyder Cut, and they didn't paint this picture of the fans. They said DC fans. They didn't have to say you ignoramus idiots that want
cultists.
Yeah, that Jody did in his other video. Now I'm getting pushback saying I'm attacking him.
Yeah, I've seen like some Jody defenders in the comments say that he wasn't saying all Snyder fans were all like that. He was just saying certain ones.
There was 20 seconds clip where he actually gave.
Yeah, he didn't make that distinction at all. And
no,
plus he gave it a clickbait title.
Yeah, and he says ignoramus, and then he's calling them slobs. Listen, I'm not going to attack your appearance if you don't attack others. If you do, you deserve it. I'm going to leave it there before I get nasty. I don't want to get nasty. It does exist. Kevin Smith is for it, and that is not what he clipped out. So this was an investigation, sci-fi. I think we proved what Signore is doing. He's trying to paint a picture, and he's trying to get popular. He's trying to make his name off of killing a movement. Him and Jody. And and someone else that I'm gonna leave out of that. They're trying to group together and become famous on the internet for killing someone else's art and denying it exists, and painting the only art they're doing is painting a bullshit picture of fans. The Snyder Cut is a pro movement. It's not like the Fandom Menace, which is overly negative and a menace to fandom. It is not the same goddamn thing. There is some carryover. There are some fandom menacers that are pro Snyder Cut. So I think, but there's bad fans everywhere. There's also bad critics and bad people in Hollywood. And these are bad critics. Because what did they do with the clip? They did not include they retweeted it everywhere. Oh, look, I was right. I was right. Who else does that? The Phantom Menace was right. The Phantom Menace was right. Andy Signore was right. No, you weren't right. Check out the whole interview. That's where we're going to end it. Check out my man Sci-Fi Dragon. He said, "Oh, be with me to the end until we get the Snyder cut." I want Chubby Teddy to come on with us too on the next one, but
Yeah.
he was busy because Chubby Teddy knows how long I've been pro Snyder cut. I'm not going silent on this shit. Forget it.
Yeah.
And I'm not
And
leaving.
I mean, I'll admit that like I wasn't like for the Snyder cut at first, but like over time I became more and more pro Snyder cut because I like the movies. I really grown to like them. They've really like people say that Zack Snyder's movies age like fine wine, and I really do agree with that.
Yeah,
They
and
do get better every time you watch them.
And we might do a collab or a watch party for the Justice League, right? Sci-Fi. We got to work that out because you haven't seen the Justice League yet. But that's
No,
not
I
Zack.
haven't.
That's the Justice League is what they say. Oh well, he froze up. Oh,
Justice
okay.
League.
We better quit while you're not frozen. All right. See you. Bye, everyone.
Alright.
Hope you enjoyed it.